Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Adams Teaches Poetry. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at John Davidson's poem In Romney Marsh. We're going to look at 5 key quotes and we're going to explore them in terms of language, structure and form. There is another video that you might like to have a little look at that will take you through context and form separately. Both videos are great for revision, so get your flashcards ready. Let's get started. Okay, let's start from the beginning. I'm breaking my rules already because I've put in an entire stanza and calling it a quote. I know that you won't quote an entire stanza, but I just wanted to look at it in its entirety. So let's start off by having a little look at the beginning. So as I went down to Dymchurch Wall, so you'll notice that he's positioning everything in terms of what happens. So it's almost like if you imagine a complex sentence, we've got a frontal subordinate clause. As I went down to Dymchurch Wall, then we get a kind of collection of everything he sort of sees from that moment on. It's the beginning of the journey because this poem is echoing the journey. So we've got some lovely personification. I heard the south sing over the land. The south is the wind, okay? It's a southerly wind. And note how kind of sort of joyful the sound of the wind is. It's singing over the land. It's almost like a little gift to the land. There's some nice sibilance there as well. Sound singing, which creates more of a musical tone. I saw the yellow sunlight fall on knolls where Norman churches stand. So note the sensory descriptions. We've got hearing and we have got sight. Okay, I heard, I saw. Slightly anaphoric there, just in the I, but you know, I heard, I saw, there's a kind of parallel by opening with the senses. And I think it's worth just demonstrating that this is rooted in history on knolls where Norman churches stand. There's obviously something about the place that he connects to in terms of the history, the sort of heritage of the site as well. Now, this is, oh, I've done it again, sorry. It's the second whole stanza. Whoopsie, no, sorry, the third stanza. I apologise, I skipped out the second. Right, so I really want us to think a little bit about the colour symbolism here. So we've got a veil of purple vapour flowed. So purple is a colour associated with royalty. Okay, some people think red is, but no, it's purple. Purple is the royal colour. So the colour symbolism here reminds us of like status and value. Now this is, so a veil of purple vapour, lovely alliteration there on the V's as well. It's like the mists in the sky. And actually, we've got a little bit of personification, because although the vapour is flowing, it trails its fringe along the Straits. So imagine the vapour kind of deliberately, like a person sort of trailing, almost like a piece of clothing behind. So it's a sort of like gradual movement of the mist. The upper air like sapphire glowed. We've got this beautiful simile here, and in the simile we've got this reference to a jewel, a sapphire. So this is a really glowing blue. It's a dark blue, but it's a bright dark blue. And then roses filled heaven's central gates. So roses, we're probably assuming that these are kind of pinky or red roses. So we're getting the kind of idea of the timing. So it's still blue, but there's just a sort of little pinky hue in the sky. And heaven's central gates, this is obviously, it's a metaphor, but again, it's the clouds. It's like if you ever look up into the sky when the sun is just starting to set and you get these sort of beams of light coming around the clouds. When I was a little girl, I always used to think that that was the entrance to heaven. I think John Davidson must have thought the same thing. In this little box here, I've just drawn your attention to a semantic field that runs throughout the whole poem. So we start it in the simile with the sapphires glowing, but later on in the poem, we have reference to saffron, which I know isn't a jewel, but it's an incredibly expensive, valuable substance, you know, sapphire that flavors your food and turns it yellow. And then we've got reference to diamonds and we've got reference to silver. So he's definitely attributing nature and the beauty of the scene with high value. And that ties in with the color symbolism here, the kind of majesty of the situation. I've done it again. Sorry, I'd even forgotten. I keep doing that. I'm just putting on whole stanzas. Sorry, apologies. Can't help it. But what you're going to notice, and I don't think you can see it on this. Oh no, yeah. So the first stanza and then the fourth stanza, they're a sort of inversion of each other, and it's a reminder of the journey. So if you've seen my context and form video, you'll know what I'm talking about here. The way that the poem is structured, so it's sort of on the way there and then on the way back. So instead of as I went down, we've now got as I came up. So he's on his journey back, time has passed. So we've got nice inversion. And again, another subordinate clause with the rest of the main clause following along. What was it that you saw? I saw above the downs low crest. The downs, this is in reference to the South Downs. It's like moorland, sort of cliff paths and beautiful hills. The crimson brands of sunset fall, flicker and fade out from the west. So we've got this lovely colour symbolism, crimson brand. So crimson is a really deep, rich red. So it's the red of sunset. So as the sun is like properly falling down. I've also included this as a metaphor, and it's because of this word, brands, which I think is referencing that kind of, so if you were to brand something with heat, you'd burn into it. And I don't think he's meaning it in a kind of, oh, pain, torture way. So don't go there. I think it's about the colour. I think it's about the colour. I think it's about the sort of richness of the red. And it's like the sky is being branded with this kind of red colour. And then we've got this beautiful fricative alliteration that ties in fall, flicker and fade. I think flicker is almost onomatopoeic, you know, because flicker, flicker. It kind of makes you think of fire again, which ties in to the idea of the crimson brands. So as night is falling and the sky is growing darker, but you've got that powerful red in the sky. Quite beautiful. My favourite two lines of this poem. I love this. Night sank. Like flakes of silver fire, the stars in one great shower came down. Okay, obviously this is a metaphor. Night doesn't sink. But notice how quick that bit is. Night sank. It's like, whew, it's dark. Echoes through the caesura. Night sank. Pause. And then he qualifies it with a description. Hang on, where's it gone? Like flakes of silver fire. So we've got this lovely simile. Bit of an oxymoron, yeah? Silver, white, you know, white, sparkly grey, the colour silver. Fire, obviously red, heat. So slight oxymoron there. But like flakes of silver fire, the stars in one great shower came down. So note the enjambment, placing focus on the stars. But that's what the silver fire is, a metaphor for the stars. What a beautiful description, because they are balls of fire, but to us they look silver. And we've got a metaphor here in one great shower, a bit of hyperbole came down. So he's suggesting that the stars fall down, that night comes down so quickly. It goes from that beautiful blue, pink to red, and then boom, darkness and stars. And then final stanza. The darkly shining salt sea drops. So we've got some lovely sibilants there. Continued on here. Streamed as the waves clashed on the shore. Beautiful onomatopoeic words suggesting like real volume, like volume and power. The beach with all its organs stops. Pealing again. Note that sensory language. It's pealing is like what bells, the sound that bells make. So it's appealing to the sense of sound. It's also created in this metaphor with all of its organ stops. That's like the church organ, but it's describing the waves and the beach. We'll come back to that in just one second. So with all of its organ stops, pealing again prolonged the roar. So again, we've got more volume. Prolonged means to make longer. And then we've got the sound, the roar. So we've got onomatopoeia. We've got another metaphor. Some people get a bit kind of excited about the fact that it's zoomorphic, that animals roar. But really, I think it's just about power and volume. And if you watch my context video, I mentioned about a kind of romantic convention of the sublime, writing about the sublime. And that's what we're really getting here. We're getting this sense of how powerful nature is while simultaneously being beautiful. So verbs like clashed suggest a sense of violence, yeah? The roar, again, suggests a sense of power and violence, whilst at the same time, you've still got the sense of beauty. And you've got this real sense of movement as well. I don't know if you've seen anyone playing the organ, but the pedaling that goes on, I think that's why he's used this organ metaphor, because he's describing the waves coming in on the beach, clashing onto the shore as organ stops. So just, yeah, like I said, pedaling, 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 keeping this sound going. So it's, yeah, such a powerful end. And that's it. I've not looked at every line because I'm meant to be doing 5 key quotes, but I just couldn't help adding in more. So sorry about that. You'll just need to kind of pick and choose little bits for your flashcards to help you remember the quotes. Give me a shout if you've got any questions, or if you've got any specific questions about lines that I didn't cover, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Happy revising.